And if I was trying to get sleepy also, I never used to sleep at the control, because once you're inside the control and you're sleeping, you get into the cozy mode. You don't want to get out of the cold. So if you're sleeping outside and taking power naps, you're anyway in the cold, you tend to get up in the next 15-30 minutes. You're forced to get up. You're not in the cozy. So that is what I used to do. If I want to rest also, I see you are going to anyway, you're rested in a control, you get out of the control, you go for another 40-50 kilometers, you are going to stop and take a rest. So you better rest at that place than resting at the control is my rule. What has to be, I use that. I got couple of tips, and 2 tips which I got before the bike registration itself. There's one Narayanan from he's from USA. He's basically from Chennai. He's been settled and he was doing his 3rd PBP. And the one advice he gave, he was telling us, you're all coming for the first time. So don't waste time anywhere. Okay, every minute counts and all. And I know it'll be scenic. You want to click photos. You see a lot of people. It's a festival mood and all. Don't waste time. Okay, that is one thing he told just before the day. And the second is the Singapore rider, Lawrence, which I met him in LEL. He told that he was again riding for the 2nd or the 3rd time the PBP. He told it is going to be very cold. The first 2 nights, looking at the forecast and stuff. So he had told us to prepare very well. So we met one of the father and son who had come for the LEL 2017. So they were not able to do the PVP. So we were in touch and he added me to the local groups on the messenger, chatting, tracking me and stuff like that. One is they were all surprised to see an MTB riding, what is going to happen. Everybody was curious on that. So at PBP again I met him and all. So though they were not riding, they were supporting the people from the UK and Germany and all. He was basically from Germany. So he was tracking me and he knows when I'm going to control and coming out of the control. And after coming out of the control, he was waiting with pastime middle of the night at 3 o'clock and he called me.
I am Baiki Venki and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest is one of the most simplest and humblest of persons in the long distance cycling community. He has taken part in some of the most prestigious rides like London, Edenborough, London, Paris-Brest-Paris, among other rides, and is now bringing that experience and expertise to organizing Brevets through Bangalore Randonneurs. Under his leadership, the community has seen many-fold increase in the participation in Bangalore Randonneurs events. His name is Mohan Subramanyam. In this episode, we talked about his endurance journey, the lessons he has learned over the years of riding various long-distance events across the globe, and the work that is going on with Bangalore Randonneurs to help the long-distance cycling community grow. Let us dive into it. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast, Mohan. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Venki, for having me. It's my pleasure being on the show over here.
Awesome. Mohan, let's start by talking a little bit about what is work for you, since this is a Working Athlete Podcast.
You mean the official work?
Yeah.
Okay. So I work in a bank over here, and that's basically Northern Trust. They have a back-end office over here. It's a bank in the US, which is 125 years old. Not into retail banking, more into asset management and stuff like that. We have around 6,000 employees in India. So I have been there for the last 11 years now. I'll tell you the reason why I have been there. So I work there as the data center manager. I'm into the infrastructure, not into finance. So Northern Trust has got a very good work-life balance. So that is one reason. And they care for the employees. The employees are called as partners over there. They don't tell us this thing. And that's how I've been there. And they encourage and they're promoting whatever I'm doing. If I'm able to dedicate so much of my time to organize Brevets or ride myself or do international events and all, they encourage that. So that's how I've been there.
Awesome. So now coming to your own journey, right? When did you get into this endurance journey? When did it start and how?
So I used to cycle in my school days in high school or something.
Right.
On the Saturdays, we used to pick up the bike and those hero cycles. My father had cycle. We used to go out. Going to Vidhan Sabha used to be a big thing. And after that, in 2010 or something, when we saw the article in one of the additional Times paper, Sunday Times, the new set of bikers which came, Trek and the Merida bikes, that was a brands which entered in the Indian market.
Correct.
And Bots and Wheel Sports was the one which was available.
Yeah.
And it was my 40th birthday or something. Then I thought, let me gift myself a cycle, and then went to meet Karan was there at Bots that time. They had the shop on Jayanagar on the top floor.
Right.
I should thank them because everybody will keep asking me those questions. Why you don't change the bike? Why you have not changed and all?
Yeah.
Probably the bike fit is convenient and comfort to me. And I trust that more than anything else.
Yeah, you have the Trek 3700.
3700.
Dude, that is a legendary bike now.
So I've been using that. I went and asked them, basically, I'm looking for a commute and some long distance, short rides for 30, 40 kilometers and all. And that changed over a period of time. And then I used to see the TFN. Used to be a premium ride and everybody never used to get an entry for that.
Right.
In 2012 or something, they had a short ride for people who couldn't get an entry, do 2 days ride to come to Ooty, ride with the riders, and then come back. And I had registered for that. I went that and did that. I couldn't do the back. They had to went to Bhavani and we had to come back. We couldn't do that. And I was Sundarajan, who's a cyclist, a legendary cyclist at Chennai. He was there. We were coming back and we were having dinner, and that is when he introduced Brevets. So my Brevet journey credit should go to Sundarajan.
Okay.
He put the bug and say there's some ride called 200 kilometers. There's no time limit. You can do and all.
Right.
And my first ride Brevet happened in Chennai, not even Bangalore.
Okay.
Though Bangalore was known and famous for it.
Yeah.
I didn't have much of an idea. So I went all the way from here to do a 200 in 2013 February. And that is when I then met Ashok.
So you did that abridged, I remember 2012 TFN had that 3-day
Correct, that's right.
weekend thing, and you guys were staying in YMCA. And
that's right, that is right.
Correct, I remember that. So you were part of that.
Yeah, I was part of that, and I still get that photos. And they keep sharing as part of the memory. It comes in. So we got to ride with the elites. I was just started riding, right. So I didn't know much about it.
Right. And so someone there, Sundarajan, the Chennai cyclist, he told you about Brevets.
Correct.
Awesome. So, and then you within the next year, you did SR.
I started off from 2013, that the series and all. In the first year itself, I finished an SR. Then I got to know Bangalore is one of the pioneers of starting Brevet. There was something called Randonneurs. We had Bangalore Brevets, which was run by Chidu and all. So I started riding because I started liking it.
Right.
So something different. Those were the days when we didn't have any gadgets.
Yeah.
You had to prepare everything by yourself. The route was only on Google Maps. You used to make note of the small towns on the way we passed through. The road sign signature of the kilometers, what you know, how much you've covered, how much you want to cover.
Right.
So it was much interesting those days and challenging.
Yeah. So in 2000, I think around that time when IISc Randonneurs were there, and I did one brevet, which was the 200 brevet. I think it went through that Savandurga and all. Okay. And that was my only brevet till day. And the 200 kilometers, some part was, I think 24 kilometers or something, was a really bad stretch. I think it is good to call it no road. And it was everything else went smoothly,
except for that.
and except for that stretch, it felt like that 20 kilometers felt like 200 kilometers in
for you.
itself. But it was a great experience, and I have this mental threshold of 200 kilometers, so I haven't gotten back to riding Brevets. But it was a great experience. The route, the kind of charting of the route was
so if
really
you
interesting.
ask me, so today now everybody talks about Bangalore routes and stuff like that. I think the credit goes to ISC Randonneurs and the Bangalore Brevets, because I have been riding with them. I know what are the challenges they do. They always have interesting routes, not straight on the highway. It'll be more boring. You get into the countryside roads, have something important, so you get to see that and try the local food, meet people, which is much more better than doing a boring ride on a highway. So I have taken those from there, and the legacy continues.
Excellent. Coming back to your riding itself, right? So you did PBP in
so I had that opportunity of doing a PBP in 2015, because by then I had done a couple of thousands in Chennai, back to back. Every year there was 1,000. I went and did the 1,000 over there. But due to some financial stuff, I couldn't. Though I was eligible, I was in a good form. I couldn't go for that. Probably I repent for not doing that in that particular time, and that's what I tell everyone today. If you get an opportunity, I know there'll be challenges. Do that. You never know what is going to happen. I did that so I went to 2017. I went to LEL. So that is when it opened the broader areas to see how international rides happen. And that's how in 2018 I was doing a mad rush of visiting 3-4 countries to do a long distance riding.
Okay.
And in 2019 I again went to PBP to do the ride.
So 2017 you did LEL.
I did the LEL one.
So how was the experience of LEL?
So it was
it is a 1600 kilometer ride, right?
No, that time it was a 1450.
1450.
Around we had on 120 hours to complete. It was the first international ride. We don't know what to do. So there's always butterflies. There's a lot of planning happening and all.
Right.
And first time in international travel you're doing. So it was very interesting and good to see a lot of other people. So the route was very interesting. The support system was very favorable to the riders. They ensured that in a day generally we have 3 meals. They used to have 4 or 5 meals, because every 80 kilometers or 100 kilometers there was a control available, and food was available at any given point of time. So it was not just somebody goes fast in the early morning, he gets it. You go late in the evening, it's not available for you. It is available 24/7. Volunteers are there available for you. They had regular dropbacks available. The sleep management. I would have picked up some of the best practices from there to what we are doing at Bangalore Randonneurs over here. I don't want to deny that. They had very good systems in terms of organizing skills over there. And the route goes mostly on the countryside. So you get to see a lot in those 4 days. And the biggest value from there, what I've seen is you pay registration fee. We paid around 30,000 or something. You don't spend a single pound over there. Okay. I would have spent around 2 pounds. One is to buy a Red Bull on the last day, and one more for a Coke or something. So you get to eat there. You want to pick up something and go. You like fruits or muffins. You can take it. There are a lot of drinks available. You want milk, you want coffee, you want juice. It's available.
Wow.
So I would have put one of the control Moffat, which I very well remember. It was like a 5-star spread. You don't get there a 5-star spread even in Bangalore. A 5-star spread was there. So in that case, you get to see the countryside. You're not spending much also. It was a value deal, and you complete a ride also. But unfortunately, I was not able to complete the ride within the allotted time. So I was late by some 2 hours. Because I was hallucinating the last day, 5th day. I was on the road. I felt like I was already riding on that road. It was a cycle path. So I was thinking I'm doing the loops there only, but actually I was not doing it. though I was doing the route for first time, I was feeling that I've already come here and seen that route.
Right.
So that was not the case. So at the last, it's very challenging because in terms of the elevation, and the last day there's a lot of winds which came in. So that added to the challenge for the riders. But you meet a lot of international riders. You good to see there's a lot of learning. And when we see here, we think we are much great. When you look at them, then we think we're not even 10% of how they ride and all.
Yeah.
And they easily, calmly ride. Even the old people, you see the old guard people who are 60, 70 people and all, riding those steel surly bikes on the hills and all. Calmly, we'll be puffing around and they'll be calmly riding around. So it is a treat to watch them also.
Right.
And one thing what I've just learned from all this is there are a lot of people who come and help me. One thing about the last, myself and Sai were riding for 1,200 kilometers together. Somehow I lost
Sai Ramakrishna.
So I owe my credit for my LLR to him because he helped me prepare a lot of things. He was my navigation till 1,200 kilometers. And somehow I missed him. And I tried to reach him. I couldn't get him. But he knew that if he's with me, he'll delay me also. So he let me go. Later on, I came to know that he saw me at the control, but he didn't stop me, let me go. The last 60, 70 kilometers or something where I didn't have navigation, then I hooked on to two people from the Greece. And I told, I need your help to get navigation. I didn't have and all. So they were riding. So whenever you get a climb and all, I was a little slow and there was a turn or something, they used to wait for me.
Okay.
And he's a very good friend now. He was from Greece, and once they come and say, then again they used to continue. So the last 50 kilometers, they took me along with me. And the last 10 kilometers, I told you, carry on, then I can put up Google Maps and come. So later on, I met him at PBP.
So did they finish in time?
Yeah, they finished in time.
Okay, so it is in the last 10 kilometers that you kind of missed the
no, the last 150 kilometers is when though I had 180 kilometers and 12 hours or something, that hallucination started off and I was sleeping.
The hallucination is something that we kind of get to hear a lot from the ultra community, right? So when you are going through multiple days of sleepless riding, I think that is where it kind of starts.
Hits you.
Okay, so what kind of hallucinations were you seeing?
Basically, I thought that the route I've already done.
So deja vu.
Done it.
There's a kind of, you're seeing that, okay, it is happening again. I'm doing it again and
again. And I'm thinking that I'm looping around the same location, though I was not doing that. You were feeling it. And I took around 2 hours or something to get out of the control. That actually happened because I'm not getting to. There was a cycle path for 30 kilometers, which you had to get on. So I was not getting that path at all. So finally, a rider came. It was middle of 1 o'clock in the night. So there's nobody available in this countryside also. I waited for a cyclist to come. Then I followed him to get onto the cycle path. Once you get on the cycle path, you know it's a 30 kilometer straight road. You follow the path and then again hook onto somebody to get. So I lost some 2 hours over there. But it was a fantastic experience. Somebody asked me still LEL or PBP. I would always say LEL, that being my first international ride. And it's very scenic, challenging and well organized ride, I would say.
Another interesting thing that you mentioned, right? The people there, the Greece friends that you met and helped you with the navigation, and now they have become good friends. So this is something that brings everyone together, right?
And one more similar example I just want to mention is when I had been to Spain, I didn't have any contacts. Then there were some Hyderabad guys who had done some rides, and when I landed, then he gave me the contact to me. And the start of the ride in the Spain was from Madrid. It was 60 kilometers. So it was a small town, Torrengula. So assuming you have to, my idea was I thought I'll cycle around, but that was not the right idea. Looking at the heat over there and the weather conditions, they told it's not worth it. So one day we had to go for the bike check. Then the next day we had to go for the ride, pick up the bike and all. So he came along with the car, came to my place, picked me up, and that was the first time I'm meeting. So I know a contact from B. Don't even know. I'm meeting him for the first time. They took me along and dropped me. So, and those are the people in the PBP. Again, I caught them.
Yeah.
The last 5 kilometers, they were from the Spain. They got along with their peloton or something. The last 5 kilometers along with them.
It's beautiful,
Very
right?
interesting.
Cycling and the it kind of unites you
Correct, very
beyond regions,
That is
beyond
true.
races, and it's beautiful.
So one more interesting I just want to mention is, so we met one of the father and son who had come for the LL 2017. So they were not able to do the PVP. So we were in touch, and he added me to the local groups on the messenger, chatting, tracking me and stuff like that. One is they were all surprised to see an MTB riding, what is going to happen. Everybody was curious on that.
Right.
So at PBP again, I met him and all. So though they were not riding, they were supporting the people from the UK and Germany and all. He was basically from Germany. So he was tracking me, and he knows when I'm going to control and coming out of the control. And after coming out of the control, he was waiting with pasta in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock, and he called me. Okay.
Oh my God.
Though he was doing it for other people,
Yeah.
I was told he was there,
Right.
available and checking and calling me and offering me.
This is fantastic, right? Yeah. It's really good.
So at least, as you rightly told, cycling bonds people, irrespective of what.
Irrespective of borders, irrespective of
Even today in
colors.
Randonneur, you come and see, I don't see, you find a CEO coming and cycling,
Yeah.
and you see even a cycle mechanic.
Yeah.
When they are there at the start line, everybody is the same. Nobody throws their head weight,
Yeah.
nothing. Finish everything, eat. A good example is we have our actor Arya who's there.
Right.
When he rides in Chennai, he's ridden a couple of Brevets over here in Bangalore also.
Yeah.
When he comes and rides, nobody could identify it is Arya because he comes with the beard. Nobody can, only the riders would know.
Right.
But he would again sit at the bus stop, you offer the food, what I'm offering the other people. He eats the same thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing extra.
Yeah,
He talks to everybody.
No age.
People pester him for selfies. He agrees to that.
Yeah.
And does that. So that's what it is.
That is very nice. That is very nice. Yeah, you mentioned the MTB, people being curious about you riding these long rides on MTB, right? And you have been doing that on all the rides. Is the only bike you have?
And that is the only bike I use it for myself. And that I use it for the commute or the training or even for the Brevets or any events. I use the same bike. I have not changed anything except for the fork which went bad. For the MTB.
Right. I noticed that it has non-suspension.
Correct. Fork. I have a rigid fork now.
Okay.
Apart from that, there are other two MTB at home for my two kids. So they have the MTBs.
Okay.
So I generally ride my bike only. So that is the only bike I ride.
Awesome. Yeah. So I can imagine that it gave you like all the memories over the years.
Yeah. So if you ask me, I was telling I've done 1 lakh kilometers recently on that bike. That includes my commute and training and the Brevets and all. In the last 11 years, I would have hardly put 40 punches to it. But everybody see, you go training, right, they put a puncture. And I have never put a puncture on any international ride. Not a single mechanical failure. Otherwise, generally, I feel people, the delay rail is gone, you have a puncture, wheel is gone, spoke is gone. You get all this type of issues.
Exactly.
So if you ask me, that is the reason I trust that more than anything else. So I have not got into, probably I'm lucky or something, I don't know. I trust that more than myself on any event which I take it along. Even if I do a 50 or 100 practice ride in the morning, I don't carry any pump or tube because I know it is not going to fail, but it has happened once or twice. And that time I would have called my wife or somebody to pick up and go. But 98%, I know it doesn't fail and I take it.
That is beautiful.
And it served me very well and it's serving still well.
That is really good.
And the comfort I've got probably. I'm still using the same stock seat, saddle what comes. Now I think Trek has stopped that. So it will be a challenge now for me if next, there's a third set of saddle which I've changed in the last 11 years. And then it might be a little challenge. So it gives me that comfort and convenience. Yes, it is little hard when you're doing, especially the headwinds is where I get little frustrated.
Right.
You can give climbs, you can give rain and other things, cold,
Yeah.
but winds is something is very frustrating.
Right.
It is very hard. But as Deepak Master generally told you, put your head down and keep rolling. After some time,
Right.
there may be a turn or something, it may reduce and stuff like that. Put it in your low gears and continue. That is what I do.
Yeah, that's as you kind of ride more and more with that one bike.
Right.
It kind of becomes part of your identity and part of yourself. I think in a way
That is very true. That is very true.
You kind of tend to identify with that more than most people, and it is difficult for others to really kind of understand that sentiment.
Yeah, it's difficult to part that also.
Yeah,
if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, probably if I can upgrade to a road bike, or if my performance might increase. I'm not denying that fact.
Yeah.
I'm telling I don't want to do that, because once you do that, then you leave this away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there will still be other uses for that bike. You can still continue to commute, which because that is what I do with my trusted bulldog, that fixie that I had for a long time. I bought it in 2010 and I still ride it. I think I have done more miles on that than most bikes, because I've ridden that exclusively till the end of 2011, and then including the TFN on 2000 on that in 2011, and then after that it has become my commuter. So so in effect I've ridden that on more days than
your regular bike.
on my regular bikes. So I mean, of course, now the pandemic I am not commuting, but that is still the ride that the bike that I took for the ride last week when the EU climate change ride was there. That was the bike I took. So yeah, I mean that's good. We tend to develop the sentiment for those bikes. bonding
goes with
for that bike. Yeah, beautiful. So what was the experience of PBP like in 2019?
Yeah, PBP, I would suggest it should be on every randoner's list. Probably it could be the mecca of cyclists. The reason being, you have around 6,000 riders from across 60 countries, various different bikes. And it's like a festival for France people. They're all on the villages, small villages, available. Food and hydration is available. If you want, you can have. People are ready to offer to sleep at their places. And the terrain is, if you ask me from a scenic perspective, probably I would say LEL is much more scenic. In the terrains or the season what we are in. If you look at the Tour de France, it's all very scenic when you see the season. But if you go that expectation to do a PBP, probably you will not get that more scenic. I'm not sure it is because of the season what we are riding during that time.
Right.
It's a little dry and stuff like that. It is equally challenging in terms of the terrain. It's more of a rolling terrain.
Right.
You don't get a support like LEL. You get everything paid. But people are available. There's encouragement from people along the road in small towns and villages. Even in the middle of the night, you see somebody saying "Ale Ale," and you're wondering where it is coming. Somebody is open from the window and they'll be shouting.
Right.
So you're not at any one point of time. It is not that you're not on the road. Somebody other passes by you. You are there with somebody.
Right.
And it's a different experience to get to know and see those people, and it should be on everybody randonneurs bucket list, I would say. Once in a lifetime you go and experience. If you're a randonner, I would say probably go to PBP and see how it is.
Right. So the cutoff for PBP is 90
hours,
right?
Is the cutoff.
And 1200 kilometers is the distance.
Well, they don't exactly close at 1200. It be 1230, 1240. It has happened at 1220.
After 1200 kilometers, that to 20-30 kilometers will make a lot of difference.
So it makes a difference. But that's how it is. So what we've done in Bangalore, and also we generally don't cut it off at 1200. We keep it at 10, 20 in any ride for that matter, the buffer. So people know that they need to do that. And especially in Bangalore now, apart from the distance, the other biggest challenge would be is the traffic, to navigate the traffic. And that itself, though you're doing 10 kilometers at the end to come into Bangalore, you need to buffer 1.5 hours looking at the traffic. So they need to learn the skill also, or you come a little earlier, buffer that extra time, so that anyway you're going to lose over here.
Funny that you mention that, because that was precisely my experience in the only brevet that I have done. So we were actually probably doing it as a race. Apart from that bad section, we were maintaining a pace line, and I was like 4-5 guys did it in fairly good time. But once we were about to enter the city, we lost the peloton. We lost the way. We couldn't find I think that Kengeri road we got enter. So somewhere it kind of got lost, and we ended up spending more than 2 hours in the last 20 kilometers. It was fun, but people need to have that kind of buffer, and because navigation is a part of the challenge.
So, and if you ask me, the toughest navigation I have felt is LEL. So because you don't get people, the number of riders also are less, not like PBP. At least you get somebody, and there's nobody to guide you. You're on a normal road, countryside road, and suddenly it takes you into a cycling track. There's something called an NCN. They have named all the cycling tracks. It's very difficult to identify, especially in the night and all. As you don't have a proper navigation device, you may get lost, and many people have lost in 2017 from India itself, and not only India, other people also. It's a challenge for navigation even from people from UK. There and the local this thing. They feel that the navigation is the biggest challenge that they have in
LEL. So coming back to the PBP experience, right? How was it in terms of challenge, and how were you able to complete it?
So if you ask me, I think there are a lot of things riding for me for the PBP 2019. The reason being my LEL was a late finish, and in 2018 I did some 3 rides. One was at Spain, Australia, and Israel. They were tough rides. I had to DNF for various reasons. Irrespective of the result, I gained a lot of experience, got to learn a lot of things. So there's a lot of riding for me, and the question was always there, probably could have finished if you had a road bike. It's a debate that happens for the good of it, nothing against it. So it was important for me to finish that, so I had prepared well for it. And I went there, and I got a couple of tips, and 2 tips which I got before the bike registration itself. There's one Narayanan from he's from USA. He's basically from Chennai. He's been settled, and he was doing his 3rd PBP. And the one advice he gave, he was telling us, you're all coming for the first time, so don't waste time anywhere. Every minute counts and all. And I know it'll be scenic, you want to click photos, you see a lot of people, it's a festival mood and all. Don't waste time. That is one thing. It was just before the day. And the second is a Singapore rider, Lawrence, which I met him in LEL. He told that he had done, he was again riding for the 2nd or the 3rd time the PBP. He told it is going to be very cold the first 2 nights, looking at the forecast and stuff. So he had told us to prepare very well. So I since I've done the LEL, if you ask me, LEL is 3 or 4 times colder than the cold weather we faced in PBP in 2019. So it was easy for me because I had the right apparels with me. I put it across. I told people also to prepare for it. But since Indians are coming for the first time and facing that, it became a little challenging for them on that. So I was there. So only photo I clicked is on that. There's a bridge which before connecting to go to Brest, it's a signature bridge where everybody takes a photo. That is the only photo I clicked on the ride, and only at the end of this thing. And it was very important not to waste any time. Here it was a PBP, you waste easily, you just take a stamp, not eat, not use the restrooms or any rest. I usually lose 10 to 15 minutes at each control, and we have
because a lot of people are there. to take that?
One is a lot of people are there, and it's little disorganized PBP.
Okay.
So you enter there, you put a bike there, you go to get the Brevet card stamp, then you go to a different place to have the food.
Oh,
You
okay.
cross the road over to have a restroom or to have a shower. So it is little it's not in a process oriented, which I found it is very process oriented in earlier. You stamp your card, you have your food, you go to the restroom, then you go to the bed, it close and you come back. Here it is little less because of the numbers. They need to have huge place,
Right.
and it's little scattered around. From the road, you have to go a kilometer inside to the control,
Wow.
into a school or any other place to
Right.
get all those things done.
Right.
So you tend to lose time. So every minute and every second counts. We don't have the luxury to waste time. So probably you save that 1 minute. Probably you can use that to rest or sleep and stuff like that.
Right.
And that is something people should learn, because I have done a couple of other rides, so I was okay. And if I was trying to get sleepy also, I never used to sleep at the controls, because once you're inside the control and you're sleeping, you get into the cozy mode. You don't want to get out of the cold. So if you're sleeping outside and taking power naps, you're anyway in the cold, you tend to get up in the next 15-30 minutes.
Right.
You're forced to get up. You're not in the cozy. So that is what I used to do. If I want to rest also, you are going to anyway, you rested in a control, you get out of the control, you go for another 40-50 kilometers, you are going to stop and take a rest.
Right.
So you better rest at that place than resting at the control is my rule, what has to be. I use that. And that's how. And last, I was actually running little late, and I know a lot of people were following and routing and checking what is happening and all. The last 100 kilometers is where I know I was looking at the time, and it was a little back. I missed the control by 2 hours or something. And somehow it was a tailwind. We had some rolling terrains and all. So I picked up some, I don't know what came into my this thing. I had to finish or something that gets into your mind. Or any ride I've generally seen in the last 30-40 kilometers, we went to mad rush. A devil comes into or something, I don't know. You go all out and push to give that. And it happened in earlier to this PBP ride also. And it happened there also. When I see where everybody is riding very slow on uphill, I used to overtake some 20-30 people.
Right.
And I had a time and the kilometer calculating to see whether I can get into that average.
Right.
After 20-30 kilometers, I rode like mad. And then when it came to where I had a comfortable timing and all, that's when I slowed down and stopped and have it.
Okay. So you finished in how many hours?
In 88.50 minutes or something.
Okay. So you had a little more than an hour.
Yeah. So the last one control, I was within the time. So from there, the last 40 kilometers, we had on 4 hours or something. So it was very comfortable. Most of the Indians, what I feel is, because I had done a couple of rides, I know how the sleep deprivation works and all. I didn't sleep on the last night. So most of them, more the people were ahead of me. I think they would have competed for the last 100-150 where the sleep deprivation hit them and they had to stop, and they all finished. Probably it could be half an hour, 1 hour later. So the clock stops at 90 hours. You're 90 hours, 1 minute or so, you're not
Doesn't
honored.
matter.
That is the rule that they have over there.
Yeah. What was this sleep last night thing that you...
Last night I didn't have any sleep. I slept earlier to that because I know we are running on late. If you want to sleep, then you again lose time. So then again the distance increases. So one good thing at PBP is they have this black coffee available, hot. Okay, piping hot. It will be there. It will be like shots without sugar. Okay, and that really helped for me in PBP because of the cold. In the last night, you find it in every 5-10 kilometers on the road.
Wow.
And you see a lot of people over there.
Nice.
And I used to sip that and move. That is what helped me.
Awesome.
Get there.
Awesome.
So,
yeah, I think the tips that you mentioned about not wasting time and we look around, we take pictures and all that. Yeah, apart from losing time, you also lose energy that you could spend on the bike.
Correct.
And also the very beautifully said about the sleeping on the way rather than in the cozy weather. That's a that's a very good thought, right? That it helps definitely. So yeah, I think people who are going to go eyeing for 2023 can use all this. Yeah, awesome. That is really, you gained all this experience from LEL 2017 to PBP.
Yeah, over a period of time, I've done a couple of 1200s over here also.
Yeah.
But lot of my international exposure helped me. So where you don't get food and hydration also.
Right.
Israel was one thing where you don't get anything for 110 kilometers. And the toughest winds I've faced is that where we were riding at 5 kilometers per hour. It's not just me. There was some other. I was probably the least eligible guy to ride there. There were all pros from different countries coming and riding and all. Around 50 people, only 10 people completed that.
Wow.
The second date was
Israel. What was the event name?
It was ISI 1200 or something. Israel 1200 only. The reason I registered for that is I was little more adventurous and want to explore and I like traveling and all. So the route used to go to the Dead Sea. The route goes to the Dead Sea, cross by the Dead Sea. You drop down and you again climb back.
Okay.
That was one which interested me. And the second one is you pass by the what is that? They have the issues with the other country,
Palestine.
The Palestine, you just pass the route next passes through the fence over there for some 100 meters.
Right.
So you can see them the other side of it. There's highly zone in terms of war zone, and stuff like that. But when I went, it was not there. So I wanted to see what it is actually being in that country.
Right.
That is what I went there and did that. The winds were very terrific and most of them had to give up. It was not worth it and you don't get food and hydration for 100 to plus kilometers, only desert and stuff like that and all. The last, so I stayed back at one place and the last 200 everybody has to come back to Tel Aviv. I got up with some German riders and all. So there were some fast riders who went ahead of us. So you can see the boards at some stretch where you see the bombings happen. You still see the signboards saying caution of school and other people. There were the signboards that used to happen and those guys actually faced that. And they had to rush. There was announcement that going on stuff, but nothing happened.
Right.
But you get to witness everything on that adventurous ride.
Yeah. Truly adventurous it becomes. Yeah. Awesome. This was in 2018, is it?
2018.
Okay. Great. So, what about this long distance riding appeals you?
One is I think I'm more onto the social media and stuff like that. One way, if you ask me, when I do a 50 or 100 kilometers, at least the 2 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours I take for 100 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
You are away from that.
Right.
I switch off my mobile except my messaging somebody in between. At least you detoxify from the digital one. That is one thing. And you get your me time over there. Some kind of meditation. You go do a 50 kilometers also. Otherwise, in the routine life, everybody is stressed out at home, office. It gives you that extra energy and zeal. And somebody asked me, you walk to office, cycle to office 20 kilometers in the traffic. It's sweaty. How do you do that? And I told you travel the same thing in a car or a bus. You go to the office, you will not have that energy. At least you cycle, you go change over, you will have that and you come back again, you still have energy. Otherwise, you're coming by a bus 1 hour, 2 hours, you're not doing anything, but still sitting in a bus and coming. You will come home, you just have food and you want to lie down. You will not have that energy. At least this give that extra energy and zeal. That's how it is. Somehow long distance, I started liking it because one is you try to sleep places which you don't tend to see in a normal routes. It is just a tourist. You go by car, you visit the tourist attraction and come back. Most of the routes take you to the interior parts of any country or that state, town or whatever it is and get to see the local things. That is what interested me. And you're doing it at a minimal cost and you're taking your time to see that and do it because you are not in again a race. Yes, it is a fixed time is available. that should be good enough to see that and enjoy that and
Yeah.
experience that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's interesting that you say you feel recharged when you commute to work,
Right.
and also when you are coming back from work, you are
Correct.
not tired,
Correct.
because it maybe it is
You probably
like,
would have also faced that.
yeah,
You
yeah, maybe
regular
it's
commuters.
like cycle acts as that charger, I guess, you
Correct.
know,
Correct,
in a
that's
way,
true.
because it recharges you. You know, all the traffic in the world doesn't bother you as much as it does
Correct.
when you are
On the road.
in a car or
Correct.
other vehicle. But yeah, that's really good. And you know, another thing you mentioned was that, you know, it feels like a meditation and the
Correct.
me time,
Me
right?
time.
We can't get enough of it.
Correct.
We need more and more of it. That is really good. Now, coming to that was your riding experience and you know, the endurance journey there. When it comes to the Bangalore Randonneurs, you have started organizing or got into organization of these brevets. When was this, and how did you kind of get into it?
The Bangalore Brevets was there. So Chudu was there, was organizing. I still say Bliss in the Hills is one of the best rides.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not able to do for the last two COVID reasons and all. And due to some issues, he had to step back, and Deepankar took over in 2014. That was the PBP here. Deepankar took over because he wanted to come and participate, and he wanted to ensure that if people from Bangalore want to participate, they have a platform over here. They do a series in the hometown instead of traveling and all. So he started off, it was small scale, and people were not interested, and probably he also got busy to something else. And he handed over to Pawan in 2016. And I was not interested. I was just want to go do my rides and come back. I was very much happy with that. Then we have this Harish Venkatachalam and Sylvester who were all part of that. So we want to do something similar to Bliss, and they told, since you're riding so much, you know how the routes has to be done, and you can help us give tips how we can design routes or support people to complete and all. They pulled me as only a supporting guy over there. And then today they are all not there. Nobody is there. And then I told, okay, fine, let me try it out and see how it is.
Right.
Then I whatever I knew from a rider perspective, I have given those inputs, and see whenever we do any events, we should ensure that it will help the rider also.
Right.
Though it is 100% self-supported rides, that is a given rule. But a little bit of information and some support should help people to complete.
Right.
That is the goal and aim. That should be. And slowly I started organizing 1 or 2 events over there. In 2018 or something, when Pawan also got busy with his personal things and he didn't want to do it, and he handed over to me. And then it's become a full-time job for me. I started liking it. So then if you don't like anything, there's no point in doing it. So I started liking it. But yes, I am not able to ride much what I want to do now. And that is there. But I still try to make time and ride whatever possible I can do. So I would now, since I've been a rider and organizer, when I'm organizing, I always look from a rider's perspective and see what to provide, when to provide, and
that is really important, right?
And that is what we are trying to do at Bangalore Randonneurs.
Right.
And see, and this randonneuring anybody can do. So what is required is only 15 kilometers per hour. If you ask me, I was never a sports person until 40. I never thought, if I'm done so many things today on the cycle, I never thought I would have dreamt of, I would have done that.
Right.
So a common man can also pick up a cycle and start off with 150 and then go do a brevet by 200 kilometers, because the average required is 15 kilometers per hour, which includes the breaks, rest period, food and hydration, everything it includes.
Right.
So once he starts liking that and he wants to pursue, then he can go with 300, 600, 1,000, it goes on. Then again, what I've seen is since I would like different things and different challenges, that is what we are trying to do at Bangalore Randonneurs. Do different things, creative some different challenges for the riders. So Bangalore riders are not easy. It's always tough. People know that. Because I learned this from the predecessors like Bangalore Brevets. And that's how I've carried across. So if you can be prepared over here in Bangalore, then I think you go anywhere else, you know what to expect, and you're ready for it.
Correct.
If you're doing simple routes over here, then we go to PBP, we may not be ready for those challenges.
Exactly, yeah.
That is what we are trying to do, which was earlier people also used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier it used to be 100% self-supported.
Right.
And I think that is also a good and right way to do. I'm not denying that. And that's how the Brevet has to be. But if you look at internationally, like PBP, other people, they provide some amount of support. They're not saying that it's not going to be a tourer, like a tour or something, 100% support is there.
Yeah.
The little amount of support is available where it is not available.
Right.
And the time when it is required is when it is what we are trying to provide at Bangalore Randonneurs.
Right.
So then we get more people
Yeah.
ride and experience what we are doing.
Yeah.
And the community spreads.
Yeah. So that is one thing that couple of things struck me when from what you just said. The challenge, the routes themselves are quite challenging, and the support that you get from Bangalore Randonneurs is one of the best that
I would not.
I mean that
People would
because I don't have first-hand experience. I am just reflecting what I heard.
Could be.
What I heard from the people who has done, who have taken part. So that is what I am kind of hearing and what I am kind of reflecting, right? So the why the challenging routes is important is you mentioned that when you go to events like LEL and PBP, there are the routes are quite rolling, very challenging, and the weather conditions are quite
one thing what we are not able to replicate over here is the weather conditions. But otherwise, in terms of food and hydration, so you should be ready. If I'm not able to get next 100 kilometers, can I sustain that 100 kilometers? Can I carry something? What? So if you are prepared over here, then you will be able to go and perform over there.
Right.
That is one thing. And that's how.
That is really good. And recently, the kind why coming to the second point of the kind of support that Bangalore Randonneurs kind of offers for the riders. 1200 kilometers ride that just happened, the Chalukya 1200. 111 people started.
111 started.
111 started and 75 riders finished. 79 riders finished.
That includes 3 females.
3 female riders and 79 total riders finished.
Correct.
Wow, that is some serious number, right?
Yeah, so if you ask me, what used to be earlier, even riders have become more strong. The performance levels have increased. The bikes have increased. The routes have become very challenging than what used to be. The Bangalore was the first one to host 1,000 kilometers in India in 2011. And the Bangalore was the first one to host 1,200 also kilometers. The 1,200 was Upendra who did that.
Right.
So those routes used to be straight on the highway.
Right.
So those days the highway used to be a single lane. Today you have multiple options on the highway for food and hydration. If you ask me 10 years back, by going by car, you hardly find a hotel to rest or use the restroom. You have to get something. So those challenges were there. But now, yes, I'm not saying this was an easy one. It was also quite challenging, very tough terrains. But riders also are upskilling themselves to those challenges and getting over there.
Right.
One thing I just want to mention is Bangalore has the highest number of women randonneurs in India.
Right.
And thanks to spokeswomen, the community, what they have built, encouraging and motivating, thanks to Vidya and other things. They're extremely doing good. If you ask me, yes, our ladies are there up tomorrow if they want to go and do a PBP or LEL. Greenie is one lady, not even, I would say, woman, is the first rider who scaled up from a 200, where I denied her a 200 not to ride Anchedi because she told I've just done 100. And I denied her, no, you're not going to ride this because it's a tough one. But she came and rode. She started off from 200 to 2,000 kilometers ride in 2 years. A journey. So that's a very good example, and she's very mentally strong female. She's
amazing rider, Greenie.
And people look at other people and they get inspired, motivated. They want to do that.
They get to see people like her doing it, and they realize that it is possible for them as well, right?
So the last Chalukyas, we had one more female who came from Chennai. She just knew, she just started off some 6 months back or something. She's done an SR and she just came here. I never knew that she was the youngest one. She's at 24 years old.
Wow.
And it was raining on that day morning. She called me not 10 kilometers after the ride. She's into and she starts crying, and when she cries, I'm not able to hear what she's trying to tell me.
Yeah.
She told us some jam or something. I told jams are part of the ride,
Right.
but I never knew that she had a jam in the cycle.
Oh.
Some cassette had jammed up and all. She was looking for some help. Luckily, there were some people at the back.
Yeah.
They came and she took a rented bike and she completed the ride on the rented bike for 1200 kilometers.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So she was also truly exceptional.
These stories are really amazing, right? 10 kilometers into a 1200 kilometer ride, your bike gives up, but you don't give up.
Yeah, and she's come all the way from Chennai
to
spending time and money on it,
right.
And you don't want to just give up, right?
Right.
And she came, rode, and finished the ride.
That is just phenomenal. That is phenomenal. You know, the talking of the community, the long distance riding community, the Brevet community, what do you see over the years? You have been in the community for a long time now.
Yeah.
How do you see this growing, and from where it was and from where it is now?
Yeah, so if you ask me why people ask me why you're doing this answer, I would have got that. I have received from somebody some support, some help, not only here or across India or across the world, also in different countries. So I'm just trying to give back that.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, I think Bangalore has got one of the best. Today, I'm just a face of it. I'm just running the Bangalore Randonneurs. There's so many people at the back end who do a lot of work.
Right.
I say even somebody comes to the start point and gives the 5 minutes, it's a great help to anybody. He's giving back to the community.
Right.
And people are doing that. And I would not say just the riders. It's again, there should be support from the family and friends. And I see that also happening. And Bangalore has the largest number of power couples where husband and wife have completed 200 kilometers together. We have around 15 or 16 couples in Bangalore.
Wow.
Okay. And we have 3 couples who have completed a super randonneur series together. Husband and wife have done a series 200, 300, 400, 600 in the last season. So that culture and this thing is building, and they see that they're enjoying and they've got something back, and they also want to come back and give back to the community.
Right.
So that's how that is multiplying and building and growing, and it will grow for the good of it.
That is really good, right? And talking of power couple riding together and completing challenges like Super Randonneur together,
correct.
It either kind of increases friction between them or brings them really close
I think
together.
It brings them close because I've tried this myself with my wife and all. Sometimes anyway, she doesn't like cycling and all. She at least walks and runs and all. You generally at home, you don't get time.
Right.
You're busy with your work. You come back. The wife, again, if she's working, she is busy. Busy with the kids, the regular routine of household things, cooking, washing, everything goes into that. You don't generally get some time to talk to each other also.
Right.
Assuming you're going on a cycle or for 50 kilometers, that's the time at least you have both to talk to each other. You can build the relation. I think it is going to build it. Not only cycling, you're doing a walk, you're doing a run also. It is building that relationship much more, and you get time to talk to each other and understand. Otherwise, we don't have time for that. I think that's a good sign of it.
That's really good. So that's really impressive. Yeah, the 30. So many people riding together, husband and wife, and that kind of gives a very good.
They would see somebody has done it, and then they say, let's also do it. And that's how they come up. And
I mean, I tend to ride, but if I take my wife on a 10-kilometer ride, that is a big thing. Riding like
rightly told, people should like what they're doing. There's no point in pushing somebody to do anything. If they start doing it, then they'll take it up.
It's brilliant. So what are some of the challenges that you see in organizing these brevets over the years?
Today, the numbers have grown. So the numbers growing, it's little difficult to handle the crowd. It could be registration, the start point, or arranging the resources at a midpoint where if you want to offer food and hydration. Those are some of the challenges that we have. COVID was one challenge. I think that challenge was there for everyone.
For everyone, yeah.
Weather is becoming a little challenging, I would see of late, because the seasons are shifting. So thinking that it's not going to be, so the rains are there in October, which never used to be earlier. It's been raining like that. So assuming you plan a calendar, keep something, and this happens, that adds to a disadvantage to that particular ride. That was one thing, and people would always looking for something more challenging, important. So now Bangalore Randonneurs is there, and you can't come down. You want to go always up. So always have to keep thinking what different you want to do, and keep them challenging. So that becomes, I don't know, at one point we may say we are done with everything.
No, but even if you are, these are what I see, except for the weather. What I see is is the problem of plenty rather than
accommodating everybody is a challenge. Becomes, and people will say, why we're not done, why don't you have everybody to ride together? In city it is okay, but you go to countryside also, we see 100 cyclists. Earlier, right? Suddenly people will be curious to know what's happening, and people will question. You may have to take permission from the local authorities to do events. And that is the biggest challenge in India. Other countries, you go and say that there's an event, something like this happening, people would come forward and help. It could be any services, the local public services, or the police, or the health services. They all will be coming and doing it. But in India, I think still people don't see that. They still see this as a commercial event and stuff like that. And we cannot blame them, because that's how everyone would see that. Getting those approvals and support is a little challenge. Today to lay a cycle track within the city itself, there are a lot of challenges. So in an event like this, I think it'll take some time when we see more number of people, more number of rides are happening. And we have seen people from different communities coming. So today we have some Bhaskara, who's a cyclist. So when we have people from those places who are coming and supporting, and I think that will help other people to make understand, and probably things might easier tomorrow. You want to organize a ride in a big forum, or dedicated a lane for us when we are having the ride, and stuff like that. That should be the
I think some of these problems are good to have. If you have so many people who are interested, that is a good sign that people, more and more people, the community is growing, and growing in a good way. And more people are interested in these rides. More people, awareness is spreading. Awareness on the importance of health, and the importance of both physical and mental health. And people are hearing about these rides. I think one silver lining of the pandemic, in my view, has been more people on the bikes.
I would agree 200% to it. It's been badness. I had not seen those numbers what we are seeing even for the rides over here. And you open in the morning, in the next half an hour it's filled up. And you go out on a regular ride also in the CBD, you see various, even from children to old age people who have taken up cycling, and hope it continues. So I don't think the bubble should not end up. And people are seeing the benefit of it, as rightly said, in terms of health, trying to explore. It's been a stress buster, doing the 200, exploring places which they wouldn't have done earlier, because of the rides they were able to go and see those places. In that sense, it's helped quite a lot.
It definitely helped. I think from what I've seen and what I've heard, the Bangalore Randonneurs, you under your guidance and others as well, are doing a really good job of contributing to the community, giving back to the community in a very, very positive way, and building the community of the riding, long distance riding community in a really, really positive way. And I wish you guys all the very best for the future journey as well. But it has been a fantastic time chatting with you and hearing about your own experiences and the kind of work that the Bangalore Randonneurs is doing. What are some of the kind of tips that you would give fellow working athletes to do well at these events and as well as work?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the kind words. So coming back to giving to the community, as it's not just me,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of people
Yeah.
who are there,
Yeah.
and some people don't want to be named.
Right.
Whenever I generally want to tag people and say that, but generally people don't want to be named.
Right.
And that's how they're there.
Yeah.
And each and everybody is contributing. It's not just the rider that I told. It could be the family, friends. It could be the companies who are supporting to do
Right.
all those things and all.
Mm.
And thanks for having me over here on your platform to share my experiences to the people over here. Coming off late, what you have generally seen, I think probably would have also heard it. You know your body well, so
Right.
you be careful where to draw the line.
Right.
Don't do extra. We have seen a lot of deaths in the last. I have seen in the last 1 month there were some 2 deaths of heart attack which has happened in Delhi itself. They were cyclists for the last 10 years and all, well-built guys, and we had the APAC promoter also who had to succumb to heart attack. So you need to know regularly where to do. The sky is not going to fall if you don't do anything. Or you're not going to get an Olympic medal if you do something. You're doing for your own passion.
Correct.
Don't run behind numbers.
Yeah.
And it's not a rat race.
Right.
Do if you're liking. If you like something, do at your own pace.
Right.
You enjoy doing it.
Right.
That is more important. If you're not, then you know there's a lot of people who are dependent upon you.
Right.
Safety of your this thing, and nobody can tell you. You can make the decision. Can I continue or not continue at any given point of time? That's what I tell everybody in a ride. You're not going to quit until you're seriously, you know that you can't, from a health perspective, you can't go, or the serious mechanical failure. Otherwise, I would force everybody to ride. At the end of the day, I say, boss, you take a call. You know your body. I can't know what is happening with you. You know better. So that is prime important. Everybody has to look into that. It is not that somebody is doing X, I want to do Y, Z and stuff like that. Don't get into that. And everything would take time. It is not that if I have done something today to 10, 11 years. Yes, there are some people who are strong enough. They can do that in 4 years, 5 years and all. But trying to do that in 1 year will lead to injuries and probably may stop cycling for the next 5, 6 years. You may get frustrated and stop doing it also. Don't get into that zone. Take it easily. Feed well. Food and hydration, probably you're a better person on that than me to advise. Take care of that and then do.
This has been fantastic. Really good tips there as well, Mohan. Thank you again for taking the time and sharing your journey and all these insights with the Working Athlete podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your interest. If you are enjoying these, please make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. The channel name is Bikey Venky, BIKEYVENKY. It really helps. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Working Athlete podcast on your favorite podcasting app. It is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and every conceivable platform. Again, thank you for your support.